So this is Cielo's first show back in about a year and a half. His last show was September of 17. I had tried to start doing the canter with him and attempted it, an intro C with the canter, that show in September of 17, and he had a bit of a meltdown. He was a little emotional. He was a rescue from a Louisiana kill pen. Somebody had adopted him and then didn't do much with him. He'd never been formally trained. So I had restarted, my trainer had restarted him, and then I took him over, and then I gave him back to her in September of 17 to work with again and work through these emotional issues. You can still see the tension is still there. He's still worried, about what we're asking him to do. He was making really good progress, and then he's my primary trail horse, so I take him out on the trails all the time, and he's wonderful on the trails. And so last March, we'd been on a trail ride, came back, I let him graze a little bit, and then he came back into a stall limping badly and then laid down like he was going to die, and I was freaked out. So he is insulin resistant, and he was greater than 300 on his test, which was pretty high. He was obviously had laminitis, so we treated him from the end of March until I think August, when we first started being able to back him again. Completely cut everything out of his diet. He is a treat hog, but obviously he can't have treats unless they have no sugar, so I have special treats for him. You can see this is actually very nice work from him. He was much more relaxed in the B. We did the B after we did the training level first test, so it was kind of backwards, but he was listening to me. He was a little strong at times, which tends to be his issue, is that he leans on me. But anyway, so he came back off of that quite well. I was very happy. This is the end of his B. He actually scored a 66, which is pretty funny. The only critique she had was that he pulls down into the contact for the free walk. That's anxiety. That's part of what we've been working on. So this is his training level test 1. This was earlier in the day, and you can see he was quite a bit more worried. A lot of tension in this one. But this is the first time that he's had to do a canter during a show, so this was going to be a real challenge. So after we recovered him from the laminitis, got him back under saddle last fall, we had purchased a new place, and we'd moved about 2 hours away from my trainer, so I moved them here in December, and we had a lot of storms, or we've been having a lot of storms this winter, so he's had a really hard time adjusting, and he internalizes a lot more than I thought, and he ended up with ulcers. So for the last month and a half we've been treating him for ulcers, and he's calmed down quite a bit. He's not cinchy anymore, he's not tight. He was losing weight quite a bit, so he's still putting weight back on, he's still getting conditioning. So he's just had a rough year and a half. So this is quite remarkable that he's able to do as well as he did. So this is coming into our canter, our first canter, I believe. You can see here he's like, oh, where's the exit door? So he was going to jump out, so I had to quickly adjust and get him back into the canter. And you can see he's tense, looking for the exit door, and then I just had to keep him with me. And then with him, you can see he's braced, and I'm trying to use my seat with a little bit of hand as much as I can, and then back to the trot. He did quite well. I don't remember what his score was. It wasn't remarkable at all, but for him this was a big deal, and it was a whole show day with a lot of atmosphere. There were 75 rides indoor. We'd rode the day before with my trainer. My trainer's the one calling the test, and still working through some emotional issues with him to get him to relax and to trust me and settle in my hands. Every time he gets worried, he goes into this emotional state. But that's fine. He'll work through it. So I'm trying to ask. Trying to ask for the stretch, and he's so tense that he didn't want to stretch, and then you can see him pulling against the rein. That's what he does. That's an anxiety issue. And that's the bumping and the pulling. And he has quite a large head and neck, and he can do quite a bit of pulling and pull me out of my seat. So he's a little stronger than I am. But he's doing some nice work for a training level test 1, first time ever with canter, which the canter is what sets him off. It gets him very excited and very upset. So he's holding himself together pretty well. So I was quite pleased with him. And obviously he'll improve from here. It's his first show in a year and a half. First show of the season. You know, he's not in the best condition. He's not as fit as he would normally be if he'd been in regular work, because he's been in very inconsistent work for obviously a year and a half. But anyway, so this is his comeback trail. This is our second canter. This one was a little better. You can see he's anticipating a bit, but he was with me more, so I was able to relax my seat and just ride it. He's a bit more uphill than my Arabian Jalal, so it's easier to sit to this one, even with his head up in the air. But he was quite, you can see his transition was much better. He was with me a lot more there. Now he's starting to settle a little bit, still tense. But I can't ask for more than that. He did try, and he did really well, so I was quite pleased. So I hope you enjoy.